And Dr. Luke, who I...
Up by Love Rants. There you go, Love Rants.
I had always loved music. That was like a catalyst in my life and my heart for good things. And Bob always loved teaching. You know, he wanted to hear the words. I was trying to explain to him how music affected, you know, Christian music affected people. And we were discussing it, and I started to cry. And I had absolutely not a clue why I was crying. It was like, oh, this is so important. Christian music is so important to the individual, because I had been in places in my life where music was so important to me. And I think it was a week to maybe 3 weeks later, he was in Believers Church on Murray, and he was standing, and I guess it was in worship, and he heard God's voice speak to him and say, I want you and Judy to build me a radio station.
He was watching the news, and what had come on was this concert. So here you have, what, 40, 50,000 people, maybe more, listening to this concert, and they're raising their lighters. This is before cell phones. Raising their lighters, and and all that stuff, and raising their hands, this concert, this group was the very center of the focus of this entire stadium. And he thought, as God kind of stirred his heart, what if that we helped people focus, instead of on a band, on a rock band, on Jesus? How powerful would that be? And I think that was one of the things that helped drive him a little bit as I remember the radio station getting off the ground.
'Cause I'll be by your side wherever you fall in the dead of night.
One of my favorite radio stations is 88.9. It is a blessing, not only to me, but to thousands of others. I tell you, it's my church away from church. When I'm not able to go to church, I just turn on the radio, and there we are.
I've been listening to KDEV, or Spirit 88.9, for the 20 years. My story that I have to tell is, of course, how the station's impacted my life, mostly through my children. My son Josh was 7 when he was listening to KDEV and committed his life to Christ over the radio. So we truly appreciate KDEV being here and spreading the gospel throughout the Central Valley.
I am a big fan of what Spirit 88.9 brings to our community on a macro level. I love the commonality it brings to all of us in the community of believers, that we have something to discuss and talk about, whether it's music or what we hear on the radio. In a micro sense, personally, to me, it helps reorient me on my commute. I know as a businessman, I tend to be focused on the things of the world, and hearing God's word through the music, just in a real creative way every day, gives me something to think about what's important.
I remember Bob Croft coming down early in the day, and we were doing a Christmas event, and we were having a bunch of the kids from the community come over to the mission, and Bob showed up with about 150 gifts and toys, and man, they were nice gifts too. And we gave out of all those toys, and we still had kids that didn't have some Christmas presents. So Bob Croft got back in his car, went back down to the store, and he bought more toys for these kids that year, and I'll never forget that. And that's the kind of relationship, that's the character of this radio station, of this ministry, and what they've been able to do through the years. And I'm extremely grateful for the relationship with Spirit 88.9. I'm excited to see what God's going to do in the future.
One of my co-workers came up to me and said, "Hey, I need to tell you something. My husband accepted Christ about 3 weeks ago." And I said, "Hey, that's fantastic, great." She says, "But that's not all. You need to know this, that it's because he was listening to Spirit. It played a big role in his life. I had it on the car, It's all I would listen to, wouldn't let him listen to anything else." And finally, the music, the things that the DJ said, all of it together helped him get to a place where he realized his need for Christ in his life.
What's amazing also is it wasn't just the person on the air. It was the person that supports us financially or with prayer or volunteers. I mean, all those people come together. And that's kind of like what you were saying earlier, is it really took a community of believers to make Spirit happen. We wouldn't be here and be in the position we are now if somebody didn't give that first $50 gift and every gift following, or somebody didn't volunteer for an event that, you know, allowed us to help the rescue mission or the Salvation Army or Care Pregnancy. You know, it took a number of people to play their part. And so when everybody does their part, it brings the whole together. And I think that was important.